All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the official Trade Talk channel where I show you how I analyze price for the most consistent and higher probable entries to help you become a better trader. Today we're going to talk about the DXY, Bitcoin, a few other things. We're going to look at a little bit of the longer term picture on the dollar, because what we've been seeing on the dollar for the last several days has been, irregular price action to say the least. So like if I pull up this indicator here, you can see that you are below the 50. So technically you are in bearish territory after spiking outside of that region. All right. So, and then you fell right back in. So this looks bearish. Whenever you have a breakout like that and then a massive rejection, people tend to go with the bearish direction. However, I think that this was more or less just a situation where price is looking for something, looking for some form of support. You can see here that for the last 2 quarters, price has been trending to the upside, closing higher each quarter. This quarter, which started at the beginning of January, traded up first, sweeping the high of last quarter and then heading lower. If I put on this, excuse me, give me 1 second. All right, there we go. So if I put on this Fibonacci retracement here, oh, you can't really see it. Let me get rid of some of these lines. Let me just start all over. Just makes it easier for you to see on mobile. So there you go. Right here is the 50% retracement of last quarter's range. You can see that you did penetrate below that, but you are trading up. Now, if we go back into the daily, you can see that you're just getting that slight move higher here with these last 3 days. But nonetheless, there is the 50% retracement on last quarter's range. So until you're closing weeklies below that level, in my opinion, the dollar is still structured bullish. Now, that can be not so great for a lot of other assets. We know that higher interest rates is bullish typically for the dollar. So, but can that have already been priced in? It absolutely can, but we're in the industry to look for trades that could happen, now. So with that being said, we are going to keep trading in the direction of the near-term trend, looking for intraday scalping opportunities. But for your macro, for your longer-term price action, you have to still be bullish the dollar until you get that. And obviously, bullish dollar can rain havoc on Bitcoin and other risk assets. So let's go to talk about Bitcoin real quick. All right, so we're having a really good quarter on Bitcoin, right? You have a lower penetration here. You test quarterly support, then you get a bounce. Now, if I put on this quarterly support level here and then go into the daily, you'll see just how freakishly awesome that was. Here is your quarterly support. Here is your near-term price action. Look at that daily close right there. So, yeah, these levels mean something. Obviously, there is a beautiful, perfect daily close on quarterly support. And then there is your trend away. Now, if I stretch this out, you can see that Bitcoin is still in this near-term downtrend. Obviously, it's in a downtrend until you get out of this stuff. Also, let's smoke this because we're done with it. If you look at this swing high right here, we did make a higher high right there yesterday or today. So, but it happened last night. Nice little higher high on price. So technically you can say that as long as you make a higher low somewhere, that you do have a near-term change of trend. All right, back from the downside back to the upside. Now, this little arrow that I have here is your measured move from this short squeeze. You can see here that it's the same size as this bullish candle. So if I pull this line, if I let me have it back, out of this and set it to this support right here, or not support, but this swing low, to give you your move, your measured move on your short squeeze, you can see here that happened. Boom, right? Now, that came into this wick here. That is where you are starting to see resistance. As far as I'm concerned, this short squeeze can technically be over now, right? I don't think it is. I think you're probably going to see a higher low support. I think Bitcoin's going to trade higher than this. But I do believe, like, if you're looking for bullish continuation off of this short squeeze, you would be in trouble if you look to buy anywhere in today's range. And that is just my opinion. We go out here to the weekly. Let's get rid of the arrow. You can see, come on, man. Play right. There you go. You can see that we are having a nice bullish range expansion on the weekly. We've taken out weekly resistance. So if you're looking for bullish entries, that place and then weekly support, this place, would be the two potential spots where you could potentially see price find support. Now, it is a little bit high on the range, but what we've seen in the past on Bitcoin is when it gets bullish, it can stay bullish for a long time, and you can get very small range pullbacks. Now, we discussed this last time we did a video. We were talking about how this is typical, and we were looking for bullish continuation. So when we did get that weekly close above the weekly support zone that I was looking for, on the retest of that level, I got long and I took profits yesterday on this range expansion to the upside. So now I am sitting in Bitcoin with a quarter of that position size left on for any bullish continuation. But the trade off of the short squeeze is over with. So now we have to wait for a support test. Now longer term, my bias on Bitcoin is bullish, but not for a very far direction. If we go out here to the quarterly and you look at last quarter, or last time we had a bullish move on price, like a bullish cycle, so to speak, you can see that the quarterly level held as resistance there, even long term, like after the bear market low was potentially in, you still traded up into that quarter and had a pullback. Now, it's a little bit early to say if the bullish market phase is completely done, but as I was discussing yesterday, the 4-year cycle model is still intact. And the reason the 4-year cycle model is still intact is because every single high so far in Bitcoin's entire history has been called in November, December. All right, every one, and it happened again this year. Now, when the 4-year cycle model, when you can say that no longer is relevant, is if you make a new all-time high. It's as simple as that. If you make a new all-time high, then you can scratch the 4-year cycle models and any other models you want to scratch. But as long as that high is still intact, that model is still intact, in my opinion, right? So anyways, if you're looking for longer term and you want to say, if you missed exiting Bitcoin and you want to exit Bitcoin, if you're in the camp that thinks that with higher interest rates, it's going to be difficult for Bitcoin to make new all-time highs, then there are 3 places that you could potentially look to exit your position. First place being 46,211 spot 24. Obviously, that is really, really close to near-term price. So that'll be your call. Your next place to look for potential exits would be $52,944.96. That is this quarter's high right there. And then finally, your probably last place to exit Bitcoin. And it's like I said, if we even get up here, it would be amazing to me, would be 58.8. All right. And that's potentially where we're going to see Bitcoin roll over and continue this bearish market. All right. So watch those 3 places if you want safe exits. Those are safe exits. Like I said earlier, if Bitcoin starts closing weeklies above 60K, then I'll be no longer bearish on the asset. And that'll be simply because it's bullish. If you get above 60K and you're closing weekly candles, because that's bullish price action. That means that you typically are seeing demand at those prices. But I am almost so sure that Bitcoin is going to roll over. It's pathetic because of the interest rates and everything else. So we'll see what happens on the asset, but you are getting a nice bounce. You do have resistance at $46,000. That was where I was looking for resistance, but longer term, you know, I had a profit target, a bullish profit target of about 55K. That's coming off of 2-week supply. That was an untested level as Bitcoin crashed. And if we go over here, you can see that level right there. Because this 2-week candle right here, when it's set in that low and price broke down from it, it never came back in for a retest. So, I mean, it doesn't have to go up there, but that's potentially about the high as I would expect Bitcoin to go in this pop. Now, the thing is it doesn't have to go straight up, right? It's not like you're going to see, you can, but, you know, seeing 4 or 5 weekly candles just push straight up to that level, it's probably unlikely, but we'll see what happens. This is your 3rd week of bullishness. If you close bullish on this week, you'll be 3 weeks of bullishness, right? So we'll see what happens. The short squeeze, in my opinion, the near-term short squeeze is probably pretty much done. But nobody, I don't want to look to short it here. Like I said, I got long on this move. I did take profits, but I am going to sit in that long until I'm ready to short the asset again for the longer-term short, right? And that'll be much higher than where we are right now. But all in all, you have broken out of your downtrend, and you could potentially look for higher low support. And those 2 weekly levels that I already talked about, those are 2 fantastic places to look for that support. All right. So there is your downtrend that you broke out. And like I said, there's that short squeeze. So we'll look for near-term support at the weekly levels. You also have a daily level there that you could look for potential support as well. So, you know, anywhere down to and around 41K could potentially be a place to look for more bullish entries. But I am expecting choppy price action for this year, right? Swing highs and swing lows getting taken out and price just chopping everybody apart. How's everybody doing this morning? Good morning, good morning. Can you please look at silver and ETH? Yeah, I'll take a look at some stuff here in a second. Let me finish what I wanted to talk about, and then we'll answer everybody's questions. Here on the Euro USD, let's go out here real quick to the Oanda chart briefly. All right, so let's do this. Weekly, you can see that Euro tested a very, very long-term downtrend line. Now, it's not a perfect downtrend line, but from this swing here, it's a multi-year trend line, right? Multi-year. From the all-time high of this asset, it's basically held price. Every attempt to get above it, but this is when you finally broke out, and you can clearly see that when you broke out of that level, it did come back in for a retest, and you've seen bullish continuation off of that. Now we have come back into this level again twice, and both tests have been almost flawless. You've seen nice bullish reactions off of that level. So are we going to be continuing to look for bullishness on the euro? That's a pretty bullish week, right? That's a pretty big, strong, bullish week. You did take out weekly res, and so we'll probably be looking for near-term higher low support. Can't look there because it's already happened. I guess you can if you want to leave it there. That way you know what's going on. Let's go out into the daily. You see here that pitchfork is basically, you're at the top edge of it, so that's pretty good. If you get above that, then next areas of potential resistance is going to be in the 1.15987 region. This swing high over here. There's really nothing until you get to that. So you can see a nice little bullish pop on the euro, a couple hundred pips from where we are now. About 190 pips. So we'll be looking for bullish entries on it. We're not going to look for bullish entries today because the day is bearish. As long as you're trading under your open, you don't typically want to look for bullish entries. So we'll see where that is currently. We are right here. So you're trading well off your open. You're coming into potential resistance. I don't trade the Asian session, but the Asian session did set up a flawless short opportunity. And that came from this resistance right here. We'll go back into the hourly. You can see right here, price traded up. That would have been your only attempt to get long. Now on this chart, you didn't hit it, but on the forex.com chart, this wick traded right up into daily res absolutely flawlessly. It was a perfect touch of it. So that would have been the opportunity to get short, and you would have only been aiming for the previous day's low. So once you got down into here, you would have been taking profits and moving your stop down to break even. So we could potentially see this continue today lower. I'm not necessarily looking for a trade on it because you are seeing a bit of a bullish bounce from down here at the London Open. So we'll see what happens. And also from that resistance level, you do have 20 pips of downside. So there will be a potential short setup as long as it doesn't close above one spot, 14198. Right, you are coming in pretty hot. This was a pretty momentous bearish hourly candle, and you are testing the open of that candle here in just a minute. So that's a good way to stay out of a losing position. Wait for the close. See if you're closing below that around 8 o'clock in the morning. If you close above it, then I would probably scrap that trade. But that longer term trend line, I think, is where you're getting this monster bounce from. Also, it looks like there's going to be a new pipeline, oil pipeline in Europe. I could not find anything about it on Bloomberg for whatever reason. But a couple members of the Trade Talk Discord were talking about it yesterday. So that oil pipeline news could be why we're seeing such a massive rally in the euro. But other than that, you got nice technical levels and everything is falling into line, into shape. So if you're going to be longer term bullish on the dollar, then you probably have to be longer term bearish on the euro as well. But you can go out here, get rid of all these drawings, and just see where that quarterly is. So there you go. There's your quarterly last quarter, and it is a trending candle as well. So you can watch one spot, 15415. That would be the highest spot. Well, never mind. I don't even know if that's on there. I was doing some back testing with this thing because someone asked me to, or I seen it somewhere, one or the other. Anyways, the 618, one spot 14989. I could see potential resistance coming into there for the near term. That's above these swing highs here, but you did already liquidate those swing highs with this wick there. So any stops that were setting above this is probably gone. So near term downside, at least until the midpoint of this bullish candle. That's what I'm looking at. Doesn't mean it'll happen, but that's what I'm looking for. So roughly around one spot 13714. Then we can look for bullish entries targeting up into that region. Pound is pretty much unchanged on the year. We go out to the pound real quick. Do this on the 12-month. You can see that you are a stone cold doji. So you are doing absolutely nada on the yearly chart. We'll put that yearly res up there. Quarterly, nothing, right? One downside push on the quarter. Then you've had 2 quarters of sideways price action. You're trading as an inside quarter right now, and there's only 1 month and 24 days left on this. So a little bit, almost 2 months left on it. So you're not even all the way 1/3 through this thing just yet, or getting about there. So which is it going to be? Is it going to be the high or the low? That will determine, that will probably be determined by whatever the dollar does. By whatever the dollar does. For now, it looks like your quarterly supply is still intact without it being tested. It's one of those things that it's hard to get an idea what to look for, but so what we do is we'll follow the near-term trend, and the near-term trend looks to be bullish currently, right? It did come in for a 50-point test here, and you are seeing 2 bullish days, but this looks shortable to me. Those that bullish reaction isn't really much of anything. Oh, let's get off there. Right. So I mean, right now you're above the 21, but I mean, your resistance is probably going to be supply. You can see that you haven't got above that yet. Yesterday's high is still intact. Yesterday's low is still intact. So you're trading as an inside day, but it looks like it is trying to take that out. So that is the bullish target. But unfortunately, there is no trade here, right? There is no trade here. Your move happened during the London session, which happens quite frequently here lately. It seems like the London sessions had all the good trades. But we'll watch a couple things. The one asset that I am watching this morning for a potential trade is going to be Euro Yen. Let me get it on this. Alright, so daily looks similar to what we see on the Euro USD. Big, strong, bullish pop. We got quarter res, weekly heat level down here. So there's multiple areas of potential support. You can see yesterday traded down into that weekly perfectly and bounced. So if we go into the intraday charts, let's get rid of that that moving average gets in my way. So here's what we're currently looking at. It's a very tight range, right? Since it's bullish price action, looks like people are trying to buy it up, came into resistance, and you're pulling back. So I mean, if you look at it like this, it looks like you're probably looking for longs, but I think today's trade would be aiming at yesterday's low. That's just my opinion. I'm obviously can be wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the daily open at 131 spot 682. That's this level here. That is the daily open. There is nothing else to go on other than this 15-minute candle right there. You see that when it came back into you, it's open. It did have a bounce. So you do have a potential supply zone there just above the daily open. So what I'm going to be watching is I'm going to be watching for price to trade up into the daily open and then roll over. So I could potentially get short there. First target will be today's low. Secondary target, yesterday's low here. All right. Today's target is going to be today's low. The main target, that's where I will be taking 2/3 of the position off. And we'll look for that secondary target to trade back into weekly res. Mainly because, I mean, yeah, you've had 2 days of pullback, but you haven't went anywhere. You have not gone anywhere. You're trading as an inside day here. This was an outside day, but it did not close below this candle's open. So those typically they're not as good as your usual bearish engulfing candles, right? And that is an engulfing. It is an outside candle on the daily. So we're looking for bearish continuation off of that alone. All right, off of that alone. And that's pretty much it. What do you guys got to say? Silver is what you said, right? Let's go up real quick. Euro. What? DOTEUR. That's a first. I'll look at it, see what it looks like. Here we go. Euro. So it looks like it's in a bear market. You probably come off 80% or something crazy like that. Let's see what you did. Swing lows, 70% off. So I mean, it's on sale. It's definitely on sale, but how much lower can it go is the question. Right now it looks exactly like Bitcoin versus the dollar. It's got almost identical price action. You're seeing a little bit of downside continuation today. The only thing that I can see it finding resistance from is that swing low. Let's go to the weekly and see if if there's a support or resistance level that it's struggling against. I just see this here. So it looks like it found resistance at a daily swing low. And I mean, swing lows and swing highs can act as resistance, but that's just not how I trade. I target those regions. I don't typically look for them to act as support or resistance. I generally look to target them. So, I mean, you do have a little bit of a pop off the bottom here. You are coming in for a 50 test. As far as looking for bullish entries, there is no support here on the daily that I can go off. So what I'll do is I'll go down to the next time frame, and that would be the 12-hour. And you can see that we do have 12-hour support right here at $19.05 or 19 euros and whatever you all use for change over there. But we'll just cut 1905. See if that level holds a support. That's a 12-hour closing basis. Unfortunately, you have an hourly or an 8-hour support even lower. So, yeah, it looks like you're coming into potential area of support. I would watch the 8-hour because it's also the 4-hour support. Since you have two confluences there, I'd probably put more weight on that to see if that level holds. And obviously that has to hold on a 4-hour closing basis. Right now you do have a little bit of bearish momentum, so I would not try to catch a falling knife. Always let support be formed before you look to get long, right? Look for that support to be formed. If it's different in a momentous occasion. For instance, like how I got long on Bitcoin, that was on 1 hourly push lower. But it was just after we broke above and closed above the weekly, right? And that was here. That's different. That's different. See this? That's a nice big momentous break. That's a close. This candle right here was a close above resistance on the weekly. So on this push lower down into the level that it just broke out above, that's where I got long, right? Put my long entry here. Got almost the bottom tick of it. And then I knew right away that it was going in the right direction. So that's where I got long. You don't want to do that on .euro because the structure is completely different. You have a lot more bearish momentum coming into that, right? You've been struggling at resistance, rolled over. So don't just look to take the first, as soon as price gets down there, you're going to get stopped out. Let support be formed. Then you look to get long on a support test, whatever support is made here, right? But that has to happen first. But that's the first place I would look for potential bullish entries. Let price show you the way. Morning Heath, could you please look at I missed silver for Dion. XAG USD, silver it is. So silver is going to do whatever the dollar does, right? The dollar gets a bullish reaction from where it is. Silver, we might see silver get bullish. It just depends, right? It depends. In rising interest rate environments, people will typically look to buy gold and silver, or they have in the past, but past performance is never indicative of future results. And anything, we can use it to kind of get a bias and get levels to watch, but as far as what price does is completely different. But it looks like you're trying to get a bounce from support. This support level has been support for a long time, right? We were first watching this support, you blasted right through there. You didn't even come close to slowing down. And then we found support here at your last area. This is where price found support. Had a nice little bear trap there because this is what I'm talking about. Let price form support at your other support. So like this is the main support we were looking for support to happen. And then when price traded down in there, it started to make its own near-term support. This is what you're looking for. And you can see here, on this day, you closed below it. Well, that's a bear trap, right? And it worked because boom, there you go. You got your bullish bounce. So, I mean, you can look for potential bullish entries. It seems to be finding support intraday now, but there's nothing there for it to be finding support from. Got to go down in time frame to see what it is, and it looks like it's finding support off of an hourly resistance. An old, 12-hour resistance. So see if that level holds. It looks like it's probably going to come back in for another test. Doesn't have to. You're below the 8-hour. Yeah, so I would assume that 2280 will be tested again, but It's hard to say. Or not. There's a bullish reaction, a big one. So see what happens here. You may find support higher, like at 22.84, if this is going to be a bullish day. You are bullish on the day, so let's see if it's going to continue. If you're looking for a day trade, watch to see if you get support around 22.84, which is this last area here. It didn't hold as resistance when it came back into it, but it's highly unlikely that you're going to find a better level. Well, you're into hourly demand currently, so this is your support. If you get an hourly close below that, scrap the trade. But you are bullish on the day on silver. No, you're not. You're bearish on the day. Apologies. Well, what time does that open? I must have been looking at yesterday's price action. What time does this thing open? Same time as the dollar. Okay, so yeah, you're bearish on the day. So when you're, I don't know if I would look, like I said, watch this level down here, small time frame, hourly. Get an hourly close below it, then scrap it, because this could just be a bounce for shorts to get back into it. It's not a momentous bearish day though. It's just like a pullback day. So watch for support. Looks like you're going to see higher prices soon on that asset. Let's go look at Ethereum. Ethereum is going to look exactly like Bitcoin almost. And there it is. Almost exactly like Bitcoin. Let's see, did this one get a breakout above its downtrend? Yeah, it did. I mean, no matter which subjective area you used for your downtrend, you've gotten a breakout above it. This, though, the swing high on this asset is much higher. You have not taken that out yet, like you did on Bitcoin. So that's where you got to get above on Ethereum before you can look for higher low support. Right now, it's still a shortable. Even though it has broken out above the downtrend, I wouldn't be looking to short it here. It's just, in my opinion, not high enough, because you've been getting these little sideways pops, and then they've been getting sold into. This is different. This one's a little bit different. So I'd like to see it get higher to short into it. But I don't trade Ethereum. I only hold it. Right? I trade Bitcoin and other cryptos, but not really Ethereum. I just more or less hold that. But it looks exactly like Bitcoin. You're getting a pullback today. You're getting a pullback today. You're going to be looking for near-term supports. We have to go into the weekly and see if it is here. You are here. Ethereum hasn't even closed above weekly support. Old weekly support here. There's your breakdown. Here's your first attempt at getting above it. You have not closed above that on Ethereum. So it's just because it's structured differently than Bitcoin. But it is what it is. So where would we be looking for near-term support? Well, we can't. There isn't any. Not on that. Daily, it's all the way down here on Ethereum, 2683. And that's a pretty big pullback from there to there. That would take a few days, right? So, I mean, going to smaller time frames, here's the 12-hour support here. So there's your two areas that you would be potentially looking for bullish pops. 3,008 bucks or 2682. One of those two places. Good morning, Heath. Could you please look at Aussie dollar? I'm short off the 71848 res. Yeah, let's go look at it. You didn't give me an exchange. I'm going to assume it's Oanda. This thing is another one of those assets that have a longer term trend thing going on here. but it doesn't look good, does it? In fact, I wouldn't even use that. Yeah, it's not as sexy. I did have one pulled up on this asset though that was sexy, so I don't know what happened to the sexy trend line, but it's gone. So we'll not worry about that. And you said you are short. You're on the right direction. The trend is lower, right? Most of your quarters, last 4 quarters, you've been heading lower, except last quarter was a doji, and you've taken out the low of that already. So that would be the quarterly target for now. And that was taken out. So let's go into the weekly and see what it looks like. Looks like you're bouncing off of it. Perfect weekly support down there. So you're trying to get short against a strong week. It's okay. Sometimes I do it too. Let's go see what you're looking at here. I see what you're looking at. You're looking at this as resistance here. And you said you're short off of resistance, 7148. Let's see if I get 7148 as well. I got 71397. Here, let's do this. So you're short off of this. All right. If you got short, when did you get short? You had to get short on this day or this day. And price is right back at your entry, bro. Right? Back at your entry. So this is why we take profits when we look to trade these assets. Because that typically price does that. It migrates back and forth between smaller time frame liquidity zones. So you're going back and forth, taking out daily highs, daily lows, daily highs, daily lows. So typically you will get stopped out a lot. That's why we take profits. So hopefully on this move lower, you took profits. So that way on this, when it comes back up into your level, if it does, which it probably will. Did you test daily res? It was close. Very close. So, I mean, is that going to be enough to hold it down from your entry? We'll see. But yeah, hopefully you took profits. It does look like, from this day here, it does look like you could potentially get bearish continuation from that. But I would have been looking for that bearish continuation at around the 618. That's probably about as far as I would have been looking for bearish continuation. Once you got above this, especially on a closing basis, I wouldn't be so much wanting to short it. You are still under the 50 and you are still under your 21 exponential moving average, so it can find resistance. It absolutely can find resistance. So we'll see. But we'll see what happens. I don't know if I like it as a trade today though, because it looks like it wants to go higher. This asset does. Shit. All right. Yeah. So hopefully you got your steps. At least put your stop down to break even. So that way, if it does get back down to you, you don't get stopped out. Heath USD CAD. I'm looking for a bullish move if it closes above the 4-hour res on USD CAD. I can't believe this. This is a brand new chair. I just bought it, and it's already squeaking. You're looking for a bullish move if the 4-hour resistance holds. Here's the thing, my friend. Yesterday was a bearish day. You are above the 50. I mean, that's as good of a test as you can get. So we'll see. I mean, it's very difficult price action. You have a pullback, and then you find support. Then you get a bullish reaction. Then the very next day, you're all the way back down. That's as choppy as you can get. Looking to go long here. Let's see, 4-hour. Okay, so Yeah, I guess you could watch this 4-hour support level here. If you get a 4-hour close below it, don't worry about it anymore. What you typically want to see is you want to see this 4-hour candle close above 4-hour resistance, which is here. Get that close above there, and then you want to pull back into that price or this price down here. That would be your long signal, but I don't like it, right? You're trying to get long into bearish momentum. It was bullish momentum here, but something happened, and now you're right back there. I mean, it looks almost like the dollar. It's basically what the dollar did. So, just watch those two prices for an intraday trade. Hold on, baby. Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult trade, man. It's a difficult trade. It looks like you're getting that bullish reaction from the London session. So London session maybe have put in a low. You are trading higher than your open, but not. So it looks like the bullish direction is the best direction for today. But you're already at the highs of the day. So I mean, there's not much left to squeeze out of that trade. We typically look to take day trades next to the daily open, right? That's what we're generally looking for. That gives us a target. See, if you're trying to this is the target. This is the daily high. So you're almost there already. Once you take out that target, then there is no high probable trade. There's no high probable direction, because we don't know if this liquidity gets sold into or if it uses these higher buyers to propel price higher. We won't know until it happens. But to find high probable trades, we look to buy pullbacks and uptrends next to the open, or if we're looking for shorts, we look to sell pops, boom, back lower. It's just, I don't see a trade on it, is what I'm saying. Not today. Thanks for the content. Yes, SPX. I wanted to look at SPX because it's doing some craziness. Intraday yesterday, I mean, come on. That is nothing but liquidations. Look at that nonsense. Up into the close. This is yesterday's price action. There's yesterday's range. No, that can't be yesterday's range. What are you talking about? Oh, that's today's range. I want yesterday's range. Here, let's do it like this. Just bear with me a second. Yesterday's price action. Here's the New York Open. Where's the New York Open? Over here. So we have the market open and we push lower, set in a low. Wasn't the low of day, but it was a low for the open, the New York session. Then you trade up, make a high. Then you come down and you take out your low. Then you go up and you take out your high. Then you go down and you take out your low. All in one day. You had a liquidity purge like no other yesterday on the SPY. So whichever direction it goes, we're probably going to see a continuation of that day for a couple days. So whatever it does today, we're going to look for that to be the direction. As 9:30 is the time that the market opens, the stock market here in America. So there's yesterday's open there. And that's yesterday's price action. Sets in a low on the open, trades up, sets in a new high, comes down, takes out the high. So stops, gone. Then, boom, right here, takes out the low. Oh my God. Sets in a low. Oh my God, that's so brutal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 liquidations in yesterday's range. Ooh. Yeah, that's brutal. So we're going to watch for continuation, whichever direction it goes, and it looks lower. So I might be looking for shorts on the SPX 500. Why? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's go look. So last month, we broke down below monthly support. There's your breakdown. You closed below. Although you got a nice bounce, you still closed below monthly support. This month, you opened, trade up into monthly support, and you're seeing a slight rejection. Also, if you take a midpoint test of this monthly range from high to low, you can see you got the 50% retracement there and a 618. Perfect test of the 618 right there. It's also monthly support. Go down to the weekly resistance here. You're still trading as an inside week on the week. Very, very tight range. Very, very tight range. This is last week's range. This week you've done nothing. It is just Tuesday, however. And yesterday's price action was is inside range. Even though you liquidated 5 times, you didn't do anything. You didn't take out the previous day's high or low. That is brutal price action. When you're trading in environments like that, you're going to get chopped up, right? So what we're going to be looking for today and potentially into tomorrow, if we keep trading below today's open on the SPX, which is 7 o'clock p.m., we're going to be looking for shorts, and this is going to be the target. First target will be yesterday's low. Then longer term target will be this low. So watch the open on the SPX. And how does that translate to SPY? So let's go look. Because I will be looking for entries on this thing today. Yesterday was brutal. I didn't trade it yesterday, so it wasn't clear. Now we do have daily support here. This is the open for the SPX. No, it's not. There's your daily support here. So yesterday you traded above it, or traded slightly below it, and you closed above. So I mean, this would typically be a buying opportunity on the SPY. But that yesterday's price action is absolutely disgusting. This 50% retracement, I believe, is off of that bearish week. It is. So this 50% retracement is just off this bearish week. Let's just do what we did on the SPX and take it from last month's low, as that gives us a little bit better. So there's monthly support. So this is the area at which you are finding resistance. So we had one close above that monthly support and then right back down. So we will be looking for bearish entries on the SPY today, more than likely. Let's put support on the table just so we know it is. I hate shorting into support. So I'd love to get a bounce or pop back up to yesterday's open. Now we'll go into the intraday charts. See what that looks like. Perfect. So we have a range. We can look for a 5-minute spike on the open up to 449.51, and I'll probably look for puts. Now, this is the thing. I can't get stopped out because even though we had multiple liquidations inside of this range, you're still trading inside of the previous day's range. So you're still an inside day. So there's still opportunity to be chopped apart. This is yesterday's range. You're still trading inside of this candle's range. This one. So there is a lot of chance to be chopped up inside of this. But we'll look for potential entries 449.51. Man, I am just talking so much and not really answering any questions. I apologize about that. Let me see here. Good morning, good morning. Check that one. Solana. I can't do two, I'll just do one because I talk too much. And it's getting close. I want to at least answer as many people as I can's questions. Solana looks just like Bitcoin. Almost exactly like Bitcoin. Traded up. Found resistance and you're heading lower. Looks like you found resistance at this breakdown candle's midpoint. There really isn't nothing else to go on over than except for that. Or this swing low. It found resistance into this swing low right here. The support's pretty far away. So let today pull back. It's going to be the same scenario. You're going to be looking for potential support. On this one, your support's closer. So 110.10 is where I'd be looking for that potential support. Obviously, you can go into the smaller time frame, look for bearish candle. You got one there. So you're trading into 12-hour support right now. But that's a momentous candle. So it is what it is. Can it find support here? Absolutely. I would watch hourly support. That's what I would do. Because there is what you found support from. Right? There's your support. Boom, boom. So if you get an hourly close below 112.36, probably heading down to that daily. Which will be that. Yep. That's what I would watch. Bitcoin made 12-day trap. I'm expecting new all-time highs soon. A lot of people are expecting new all-time highs, but not me. If Bitcoin breaks down again, what is your downside price target? I don't have one. I do not have one. The man, Alan P. Hey, what's up, Alan? Hey, Heath, Russia and China 30-year energy trade deal is settled in euros. Gotcha. Appreciate it, man. That's probably why you got the massive bounce. Any thoughts on Bitcoin higher high? Being a fake out after the short squeeze? Yeah, there is a chance of that, but at the same time, I mean, I think your low is in for a while. Right? I think we can look for a lower high support. Or a higher low support, sorry. Higher low support. So you do have this new higher high. Right? Now you have to wait for a new higher low before you can legit say that the trend has changed. And even then, I mean, you can still make higher low support, go up and make a new high, and then get shorted. Right? It's one of those things. But right now your momentum is up. Your order flow for several days has been bullish. You're 3 weeks bullish, right? So look for support. That's about all you can do. Just look for support and trade it to the upside. If you're looking for a longer term short, then you're waiting. You're like me, you're waiting. We gotta wait for price to get up to those attractive short levels. It is definitely not an attractive short down here. But it is an attractive long down here. That's why I got long. We'll see how far that goes. We'll see how far that goes. Thank you, Alan, for that. I did not know that. Russia and China 30-year energy trade deal is settled in euros. So that's a lot of a huge infusion of euros. Would definitely make that thing bounce. How you feel the 4-year cycle is still relevant, as there were a bottom 6 February 2018 4 years ago. This time it was a little earlier. Well, I don't think this is the bottom, right? I'm not saying that this is the bottom. The bottom can be a myriad of places. I think this is a near-term bottom, guys. Near-term bottom. That is not what I want. And you know it. Alright, I mean, you guys have seen this chart a million times, but I'm going to leave it up as long as it's relevant. I mean, that cycle chart is still intact. High, high, high. So yeah, we'll see what happens with it. You do get bounces in bearish markets. It's a fact. You can get bounces in bearish markets. You can go back to your 2017, 2018 bull market phase, and you can see that you got some bounces in that. Bounces. Down here, you got a bounce and you were bullish for 5 weeks. Right? After taking out support. Take out support, you get 5 weeks of bullishness. It doesn't look big because we're at such higher prices. Where we are now looks way bigger because it is way bigger because we're up such higher prices. But this is what you're typically looking for. Something like that. Right? And it took a long time. You remember all this over here? Every time we got down to support, Twitter was like, this is the buy the dip, buy the dip. And then they became long-term hodlers. Boom. That's what makes long-term hodlers. People buying the dip in a bear market. But obviously if they held, several months later, they were right back into profits again. And then there's your March. That's this price action right here. Just garbage. But it is when the bullish institution of monetary policy happened. Right there. Boom. On that wick. And you've traded all the way. You've squeezed all the juice out of that lemon, in my opinion. But it's just my opinion, guys. If you think you're going to see higher highs on Bitcoin for whatever reason, that's what makes the market. That's what makes the markets work. People disagreeing on what they think price will do. And in reality, nobody knows what's going to happen. I have no clue what's going to happen. I'll just stick to my technical levels. And if I get stopped out, then I'm wrong. It's simple as that. But I'm not looking to short it down here. We could have a couple more weeks of bullishness. Put us right up into that level where I'd love to get short. But the quarterly looks good, right? It looks good. It looks like a bull flag on the quarterly. It absolutely does. There's no denying that. And you are having a strong bounce from quarterly support. So those are my 3 areas of potential resistance there. If we get above this, then we're heading higher. But it can bounce all the way up to here, and this can remain intact and go lower and see something like this. Choppiness sideways up and down for a year and a half. Choppy sideways for a long time until March 2024, the next halving. And that's when you're going to be a buyer again. But I'll look to short at 46,211, 52,944, and 58,8. Those are my bearish areas. Above that, I'm bullish. I mean, I'm long-term bullish, right? I hold Bitcoin in a HODL account. I'm as long as you can get on Bitcoin. Even when I take short entries, I'm doing that on an inverse swap contract so I can accumulate more Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. I don't want new subscribers thinking that I'm a bearish guy on Bitcoin. I'm not bearish. I'm bearish on this year. That's it. Long term, I think Bitcoin's going to be worth $1 million. So I want to buy as much of it as I can, and trading it helps me to accumulate more than just buying it. So I've decided to try not to destroy my cost basis anymore on my HODL account. I will just hold that, and I will continue to keep the funds in the trading account, occasionally taking out some here and there and putting them into the HODL account on fearful days. But those are my 3 zones of potential resistance. Boom, boom, and boom. And then there is plenty of downside from up there. The NASDAQ was down, but Bitcoin was rallying, non-correlated with equity markets after quite a while. What are your thoughts this year with all the interest rate issues will be difficult? Exactly. And that correlation is just, you're going to find that it's just going to be a few days here and there. If you have a bigger, longer term macro move lower on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, you're going to see that on Bitcoin too. Bitcoin is a risk-on asset. It was built to be a risk-off asset, but there's just not enough adoption in it yet for it to trade as a risk-off option. Right? It's too risky. Its price swings are too much. If you put $1 billion in Bitcoin, you're setting through massive amounts of pain when it takes a 50% cut. Right? If you bought Bitcoin at 50K, and that's a lot of money. 50% off. It's not 50% off of 50K, but you're sitting in a red position, and you're probably going to be sitting in it for a while, because the interest rates will be different, because it is a risk-on asset. But there are people buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin was just bought by somebody, a big company. Let me see if I can find it again. It's old news. It was yesterday's news, but right here, multi-billion-dollar company KMPG adds Bitcoin and Ethereum to their balance sheet. I don't know if this article says how much, but still, you know what I mean? You are seeing adoption in Bitcoin. It's just not enough needed to make it a risk-off asset, a safe haven, if you will. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Nobody can. We can predict the future, but we have a 50% chance of being right. That's the thing with trading. For BTC, go back above 60K. Yeah, that's when I'll be bullish again. Could you do fib retracement on SHIB? Thanks. Yeah, we'll do that. And then unfortunately, I gotta wrap it up. SHIB USDT. We'll do it on KuCoin. So your longer term fib retracement from the decline, I mean, this asset is lost 80%, so keep that in mind. It's on log, so it doesn't look bad. You take it off log and you can see just how bad it is. You're just a skip, hop, and a jump away from where you traded from. You're almost right back there. Well, crap. Let me redo it, because I didn't get to swing high. To swing low, you're a long ways off from 50% retracement on it. Let's go to last month. I mean, it's just disgusting. It's a pump and dump is what it was. So you're above you're at last month's open. Potential resistance right now on Shiba Inu. You're in potential resistance on Shiba Inu. So we could fib retrace the bearish move only. And that gives you a pop up to about there. There really is nothing else to do on it, because you're above this 50% retracement on this quarter. You're almost bullish again on the quarter. But the quarter just got started in January. So we'll see what happens. But you're a doji on the quarter. So watch that monthly res. Right? This was your first month. January open, went down, now you're right back up into it. So this is a potential area of resistance on Shiba Inu. And since there's really no use case behind it, I do like that 2-week candle though. I definitely like that. That's beast mode. It's a nice bounce is what you've gotten here. And it's happened in the last 3 days. Boom, boom, boom. Jesus. So your whole entire last month's retrace was done in 4 days. Gotta love crypto, man. Gotta love it. But that's what you're struggling with currently. So be very, very careful. As in downtrends, pops in price. Look at this pop. They get sold into. Look at this pop. Got sold into. This pop. Got sold into. Will this pop get sold into? We will see. All right, guys, with that, I got to say, have a good day. Make sure you guys trade safe. Make sure you trade smart always. And happy trading, everybody.